Hey everybody, welcome back to the FSIDFS Fantasy NASCAR Pick Show. I'm your host, Mega Roller 31, and I'm joined by special guest TK Nation. And TK's taking a step back from content from FSI because he's got a lot of really great things going on in his personal life to attend to, which is awesome. But from time to time, we're still talking NASCAR, and he's going to join me on some videos, and I'm going to try to have some other special guests this season. So we're off to a good start so far. Got some good content out there and a lot of good response from everybody. So thanks for the view. So TK, how have you been?
Good. Thank you for having me on, Mega. Different roles here. This feels a bit weird, but I'm excited to join you. And thank you for having me lead off this season as your special guest for the Daytona 500. I was really close to taking down the 50 cent tonight. Oh my gosh, $450 swing. Josh Williams gets his revenge on me in the Xfinity race. He dropped 2 spots. I dropped one in the 50 cent, so I lost 450. But I still took home $300. Thanks to you. Thanks for your sheets, all the projections, the models. Guys, give Mega a follow on Twitter at MegaRow31 and then join him as a subscriber this year for Fantasy NASCAR at FSI. You can find that on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS and on his Twitter and also on our website, FSIDFS.com. So thank you, Mega. I'm off to a great start. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's race. Let's kick this off, man. Let's go.
Yeah, and we're offering a free week. So if you want an FSI, the coupon is on below on your screen. Just go right to the website and sign up, and we got you going there. So just a couple of rules that we've thrown out here. If you haven't watched any of these videos yet, for Xfinity and for truck is number one, dip your toe into the water. Don't dive into the pool because this is a high variant sport and this is a high variant track and anything can happen, as TK just said.
Yeah.
Huge swings. Number
Yep.
two, don't feel that you have to use all your salary. If you come up with a line that you really like, you can leave 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on the table. It's not
Yep.
a problem. And finally, what you want to do, even more so in here, is you want to play for place differential. So play plays from the back, not the guys up front, because laps are going to be led by a bunch of different people. Fast laps are going to be spread out. They really don't matter. Like, it's a short track where you have 400 or 500 laps. There's only 200 laps here. Things will change so fast that it's not going to amount to much. So yes, finishing position is important, especially on FanDuel, but when it comes to DK, you want to get place differential. So we'll kick it off up top here with basically the top five we have here. I've listed as fades just because these guys are great bets to win the race and probably good plays if you can nail the winner on FanDuel out of this. But they're really not going to help you. Even if they lead every lap and win the race, they're not going to really garner that many points for you in DK. And also, what's going to happen is if they rack, they're going to lose you like 20, 30 points for place differential. DK?
So we see this all the time. Hendrick Motorsports 1-2, right? And then they just get lost in the fold and you forget about them throughout the race. They're never really a huge threat to win the Daytona 500. They're super great at qualifying, but they aren't really the greatest on race trim at Daytona. So I don't expect much from Bowman and Larson. They're definitely fades for me in the DFS standpoint. I have interest in Logano at a bet. He's at 12-1 to win the race. I think that's fairly good. I mean, before Keselowski ruined his Daytona 500 win a few years back with the last lap wreck that pretty much took out half the field. He was
Took out his
about to win.
Penske career too.
Like, yeah, he just he just obliterated everything, right? So I don't mind him. Almirola, I think it's okay as a bet. He is 25-1 starting fourth, but
He's like
man,
fast, yeah.
yeah, sure. 25-1 starting fourth. You think, hey, it might correlate, but if he's going to be running inside the top 10, I think that's actually dangerous for his bet at 25-1. And I don't have much interest in Christopher Bell. I don't know much about that position, but so I'm with you from a DFS standpoint, though. All fades for me.
So 6 through 10 here. Cindric, Blaney, Elliott, Busher, Keselowski. The Roush friendly cars look pretty fast and look good in the duels and good in practice. So I think, maybe in GPP, if you're going to put some wait, hold it. Why on earth is that's a Ford? Okay, never mind.
There you go.
There's So, anyways, the Roush
First
Fenway
seed of the
cars,
year.
if you're gonna stack like Fords together, in a GPP, that's one thing, but I really can't see playing any of these in cash. Chase Elliott's just really looked lost the last couple of seasons since his
Yeah.
unless he's running at Atlanta or no, is it Atlanta where
Yeah, he always looks really good at Atlanta. That's the home track.
yeah, where they ring the bell every time he
Yep.
wins.
Yep.
And Blaney, I think, definitely could win the race. Like he's looked good. He
Yeah.
just seems to get snake bitten, and Cindric won last year. Or so I mean, there's definitely some potential winners in this group, but I don't think anybody has a floor enough for cash. So if you think you can sprinkle in the winner here, then that's fine. But you're still, I think, you're really playing with fire because I don't think you're going to accumulate enough points if you nail the winner and then stack all the back. I still think that place differential can still get you.
So the only thing I'll add is I love Penske stacks at super speedways. So I'll always generally have a few Penske stacks mixed in with the multi lines that I usually perform, with 50 cents and, maybe some 20 max. I'll throw a Penske stack or two. So I think I might have a few combo lineups with Blaney and Cindric and Logano, just because we know how manufacturers love to team up when it comes to drafting like this.
And
It's
we saw
something
that
that,
in Xfinity with
yeah,
um,
Team
junior ones, but it
Motorsports. Yep.
just they kind of cannibalized themselves and ran out of gas, and yeah, that
Yeah.
just didn't work out. But
Right. Hey, it's boomer bust
right,
mentality with the manufacturer stacks, but that's the only thing I'll actually add to this. I'm with you. I think Chase is not as great of a super speedway racer as everyone thinks. I certainly think he does really well. And then Blaney always seems to get like wrecked at the end.
yeah,
It's like he'll look so good. He'll have the fastest car, and then he's just always involved in some type of last lap incident or like gets shuffled out at the last lap. He's got some pretty terrible luck when it comes to the end of these races. So maybe there's some positive regression with Blaney, but I think he'll fairly be popular in GPPs, maybe 10 to 20%, only because the starting position is pretty high. But I don't mind Blaney, and I think a pinch of Elliott in case he does well. I don't know. I don't really concern myself too much with the top 10. I'm ready to roll.
okay. So Mike McDowell won the 2021 Daytona, luck boxed it pretty much. That just
Sure.
survived the calamity that happened. If he was starting 25th on back, he'd be a smash play. He's great at super speedways, but I don't think he can do it here. Corey the Joy, same thing, but just I know his equipment's not as good, even though it's supposed to be parity. I just think that I I don't really like playing him, so he's a fade. Kevin Harvick, last Daytona 500, not running the full season. If he wins this, does that mean like maybe he would consider running the full season? So I think he's probably out of like from 14 because we'll cut it off at Bubba because that's a whole different case. So looking at 11, 12, 13, 14, Harvick is probably the first guy that I'd really
Yeah.
consider in GPP. Gilliland, LaJoy, and McDowell, if they were plays like further on down 25th on, lock them in. But up
Sure.
here, I just don't think they're playable.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the fade for LaJoy and Gilliland. I think, yeah, the price tag's pretty cool, but I'm not concerned with salary. I think they're starting way too far for it. I have interest with the same price point in other directions. I think McDowell, good GBP play. I agree with you there. Harvick, there's like that mystique factor of, hey, it's my last season. I'm about to go into the booth, trying to go out with a win at Daytona. 25 to 1 is not a bad idea. I think that's where my interest is. I think I could possibly be underweight to the field with him in DFS and maybe throw like $5 on him to win at 25 to 1. I think that might be a better idea with the whole idea of Kevin Harvick, because I think he's going to go wreckers or checkers to try to win this thing. And for DFS, that doesn't really translate. For outright bet, that might work. But yeah, I'm ready to go on to where I believe the slate starts at spot 15.
Okay, so 15, 16, we'll just throw Zane Smith in there. He's
Sure.
kind of this is interesting too because it's the first time ever that you've had all three series winners racing in from last year racing in one race because Ty
That's pretty
Gibbs
cool.
moved up, Zane Smith won the truck series, he's in here,
Yeah.
and
Austin Hill, right?
yeah,
Is he in this?
No,
He
Zane
should be.
Smith won the series
Oh,
last year.
you're talking about championships. Got it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So all three champions are in the same race from last
I like
season.
that.
And I think Zane Smith's got a bright future, but I don't think it's today
Mhm.
for this race. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to move back. He's still like a rookie getting used to this type of car. He normally
Yep.
drives a truck, hasn't had much Xfinity to my knowledge. So I think that he moves backwards. So he's a little too far forward here for me. But these three, Bubba Wallace, all Toyotas, pretty much, even though 2311 Racing is not, a Gibbs, it pretty much they are really close. Bubba Wallace got really cocky in his practice press conference and was saying, y'all going to be saying that, I didn't do anything in the duels and I'm out here slow in practice. Yes, I'm practicing. I'm not trying. He went Allen Iverson. He said, we're talking about practice. This is practice. It's not a game. This is practice. And pretty much that's what he was saying is like, I've got a winning car here. And I wasn't trying to go out there and win the duel. And I wasn't trying to go out there and put the fastest time down in practice. I was here to get this dialed in to win this race. So these three guys are GPPs, but I put a new category for win because if you're making a cash line, I don't mind sprinkling one of these three guys in if you think one of these three guys is going to win.
Great addition. Yeah.
To be a little bit different because you're going to see a lot of chalky lines.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where you could
QB2
differentiate.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take five of the chalky guys and then take Wallace. Truex, who I don't believe has ever won at Daytona, no, because there's 35 and
Wolford
there's a big
Century.
zero next to it. But he finishes the race, and then Hamlin, who has won three times. If you think one of these, and they're probably all going to work together. So again, if you want to group all the Toyotas together in a line, I think it would fit. I don't know who your final guy would be. It just probably take
Maybe
somebody
Reddick.
close to the back.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you could go Reddick, Pastrada. Actually, there are six Toyotas. I don't know if they
Yeah.
all fit
Gibbs.
money. I don't know if they all would fit money wise, and I don't think it's really wise to play Christopher Bell. But I mean, you could
No.
try it. But you're picking up Travis Pastrada too. But so I
Right.
don't know. But I definitely played maybe the Gibbs cars in GPP. But like these guys, and maybe I'd start out a GPP with Wallace, Truex, and Hamlin. Forget the rest of the Toyotas, and then fill in with guys from the back. I think that makes an awesome GPP. I think that might be my GPP core right there: Wallace,
Yeah.
Truex, and Hamlin, and then fill in some guys from the back.
Yeah, I have to agree. So, funny story about Truex. I was trying to bet the right after the heats for the Busch Clash, and I'm on DK Sportsbook. Long story short, Ohio, thank you. We have, the sports books live in our state finally. So I'm trying to bet the Busch Clash, and Truex Jr. 30-1 pops up. And I know he's the fastest car on the track. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to bet that right now. That's crazy number. What a value. So I throw money on it. And then I get to my bet slip and I'm like, oh crap. It was for the Daytona 500. And then I think to myself, shoot, Truex is like one of the worst super speedway drivers I know. I'm like, oh man, this bet feels dead. So I have that lingering in my bet, my bets under DK Sportsbook from weeks ago during the Busch Clash.
But you
So
did bet him
luckily,
for the Clash,
I
and
did bet him for the Clash. So I'm trying to go 2 for 2 on Truex bets. I'm sure your daughter will be happy to know
yes.
that I hit the Truex at the Busch Clash, and I'm hoping he wins the Daytona 500 since I got that ticket from weeks ago.
Did you watch the end of the Clash where like they were
Yeah,
standing up on the podium and Kyle Busch comes up behind him and
yeah.
gives him a little
He
nut tickle?
I won't say what he did, but yeah, he gave him a little bit of a finger. You know what I mean? So, right, that was hilarious. But all right, so I'm in on Truex regardless now because I have this bet, right? But Bubba Wallace 18-1 is actually one of my favorite bets. I think that's a really good value. I think he's finished in the top 5 in 3 straight Daytona 500 races. He's always near the front, but he always seems to get out of all the damage. Like he does really, like it's weird. Like Bubba is a magnet for cautions throughout the entire year, except at super speedways. He's really good at
Larson
draft.
love and hate relationship with the tire, but tires shouldn't really matter that much at this one.
Exactly. He is really good. Like his niche, like Austin Hill is turning into a really good super speedway driver. We saw that tonight in the Xfinity race. Bubba has that same niche for the super speedways, kind of like
And
Blaney.
his first win was on a super speedway, even though it was like rain shortened, but still.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Talladega, it's a victory. And I'm going to go with Bubba in a lot of DFS. I'm going to go with Bubba 18-1. Hamlin, always going to be a DFS play on a super speedway, regardless of where he starts. And then, yeah, Zane Smith, I'm with you. Rookie, not on my radar, a little too far forward. I think it's just too early to call with Zane Smith. If he does well, I'll be happy for him, but I'll be on the outside looking in.
So next up, we have Harrison Burton, who's an absolute no. He hasn't finished a Daytona race. The first one, he ended up, actually figured out how to flip the new car, which was supposed to be unflippable. And then,
I don't like
not good. So no, maybe down the road, but not here.
I love this
Priest,
next play. I love Priest. Oh
yeah,
man,
but Priest is better on like Homestead and like some of
short
those.
tracks. Very
Yeah.
good short track driver, but he is a really good dedicated driver. He has a lot of experience, more
Okay.
experience than you would think on any track in any condition. He's actually in the best car setup he's had ever in his career. You saw it in the duels. He was up in the front. I think Priest is a really good GBP play. I'm gonna be overweight to the field with 41.
Yeah, and I like
I
it
think,
because he'll probably be with Almirola and Harvick,
yeah,
and
it's a major upgrade from Custer, I
they'll
think.
probably work with the Roush Fenway ones, because one thing they figured out in practice is like you can't put every single Ford together, because once you get past like 8 or 9 of them, they start to lose momentum. So I think you're going to see more like 6 or 7 groups than you're really going to see like 12 or 13 groups. So
Yeah,
we'll see how
I
that
think
plays out.
Priest is a strong play. I'm in.
Byron next up, I really like too. I think that
Yeah.
he could
Oh yeah.
definitely get up and win, but he's had some bad luck here. He's won once at Daytona, I believe. I don't think it was it the 500 or was it the summer race?
I think, but he won the summer race, the
Okay,
400, Coke Zero 400.
okay. So, but still, he's only 60%. That means he's finished 4 out of 10 races with a 60% DNF race. So, kind of concerning, but I think he'll be high owned. Gregson, we'll have to see what happens with him, because like he's in with the whole Jimmy Johnson Petty
Yep.
team, was super good in Xfinity, and he has raced quite a few races up in Cup last year. So I think he's a dark
With the
horse. I have him as
Spokesman.
a cash play.
Yeah, I'm going to be in on Gregson. And my allegiance will probably lie with Priest at 6,800. But Gregson, I certainly think is well within his abilities on the plate race. I think, or super speedway. I think he's a fairly good play, and it's going to be interesting to see how 2 cars do with the Legacy Motor Club, in the addition of Jimmy Johnson and all the money that he possesses, now being added with Petty. I think that brings a lot of prestige to that team, and I'm interested to see how that plays out. And I don't think Craigson, he was with Beard,
Yeah,
at the super speedways last year, right?
right. And he brought his
62.
crew chief from Xfinity.
Oh,
So
oh, no,
yeah.
there you go. Nice. Yeah, I think he's an interesting play.
Now Chastain, he's just
Uh-oh.
volatile. He's too
Uh-oh.
aggressive. So, and they outlawed his move. So,
I don't like that. I don't like that decision from NASCAR.
yeah,
I thought that was one of the coolest moments in NASCAR in recent memory.
it definitely was. But you know what? It's like one of those 2 week rules. Like they'll enforce it for like
Yeah,
2 weeks, and then like somebody will do it like 3 years from now, and they'll be like, "That's brilliant," and then they'll be like, "We thought that was banned." We're like, well, they didn't exactly do it the way that we thought that they would. Whatever.
sure. I think it was. It's not like I can understand the safety hazards to it, but it's not like everyone's doing it every week. So I think they're just trying to prevent people from doing it all the time, and then someone getting hurt doing it. I don't know, but I thought it was cool. I'm upset about it. Everyone knows my love-hate relationship with Chastain. It's just he's gonna wreck 2 or 3 people in this race. It's gonna piss me off. I can't wait.
So his teammates right behind him, which I think this is a cash play because Suarez, even though he did wreck
Mhm.
Bush, and that's uncharacteristic of him. There's not going to be any payback. They were out there in practice, and actually Bush got right up behind him and was like bump drafting and working kind of with him, kind of to show him like the correct way to do it. So I think that,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't have Suarez on my radar. Actually, he has a really bad track history at
Oh,
Daytona.
look at
Um,
that. Holy cow, 81%. Okay, live edit. Yeah, GPP.
yeah, he's got a really
Yeah.
bad DNF rate. So
Okay,
I'm
Eric
gonna I'm
Jones.
gonna pass on. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on. Like, sure, Suarez and maybe GBPs. I mean, every time water finds the surface, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know, the Harrison Burton, Suarez, Gilliland, they all kind of just fizzle out, and I'm just gonna pass before
Yeah.
that gets worse.
Last year, I
Yeah,
said Eric Jones was going to win a race, and he won, I believe, the summer
that
at
was a really
Daytona.
strong call out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I made the call that Haley Deegan's going to win a truck race this year. So I got some feedback on that on the truck video, but I'm holding to it. I think
Well,
that
that wasn't her fault. That wreck wasn't her fault. I
no, and
mean,
I think this is a new team. I think she's got a lot of potential. Like if you take
yeah.
the fact that she's a female out of it and look at her as like a driver,
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
she's like her first year, like she had like a sophomore slump, yes, but I think that she's got what it takes in the truck series to win at least one race this season potentially.
Yeah, she's latched on with Sauter's group. She's got the major sponsor with Monster. I mean, she's got a lot of things going for her. I mean, yeah, you take the female side out of it. I think she's learned, over the course of the last 3 years to get to this point. I think there's going to be a race fit for her. And then once she figures out her identity as a driver, I think it could be sky's the limit. So she just has to figure out which track suits her the best, and I think she'll be just fine.
Yep. Okay, so Eric Jones, same thing. I think he's a cash play here. I think he's has done well at these tracks. And Reddick, I don't know what to think here. Like,
Yeah, I'm tossed between this guy. He he's toes the line with Rex, right? And he didn't look really great in the duels.
but
So
he was actually one of the few that went out. Not many of them took advantage of today's practice. Most of them put their cars to
yeah,
bed or ran a couple laps just to make sure no oil was leaking or anything.
right,
But he
right.
was out there and he was practicing getting on pit road and he was practicing like all these like elements. Like I think he's really, really trying to become a better driver. And he's on this new 2311 team. I think he'll work with the other Toyotas. I think that will help him with drafting, keep him out of trouble, and I think that he will. I think he's a cash play starting in this position.
Now that I think about it, he won the Xfinity 500, Daytona race way back when he
Yeah.
was unknown. Maybe it's just him trying to figure out Toyota in 2311 in the switch. So maybe that, like you said, that extra practice, maybe he might go in low owned and might be an opportunity here.
So I think Austin Dillon's going to be chalk here. He's a really
Yeah.
good plate driver, 2 wins at Daytona racetrack, 19 races, 15% DNF, like 9 top 10s. He goes out there to try to win these races. He's definitely get some place differential. He should be able to stay out of trouble. Prime play for me and chalk.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to add more to that. It's he's locked in.
Justin Haley is also a very good driver at Daytona. Like he struggled throughout the series, but he's kind of like he and like Todd Gillian are just like these cheaper guys that you can just sprinkle in your cash lineups. And over the years, like Busher before he got a little bit more expensive like this, and even Priest like back in the day, you just have these drivers that are just consistent. They're never going to like win every single race, but or maybe even be contention, but they're going to get some good place differential. They're going to put in a solid performance. He's finished 4 out of 5 races, 1 win, 1 top 5, which is obviously the win, and 2 top 10s. I really like him here as another prime play.
Yeah, I think Haley's actually one of the better plate racers out there. So I'm in Haley for sure.
And AJ Allmendinger, his teammate, I think is also another one. Did really well, and I want to see how he does in this series too. Like he was so
Right,
solid.
full time this year.
He's the one that spent the time in Xfinity, like getting this right seasoning to come up and not be like a flash in the pan and get shot right back down like Cole Custer, like Hemrick did.
Yeah,
Um,
Emmerich's great example.
right. Anthony Alfredo. I think that he's a very good experienced driver, and I think that he's going to be up here. Like, don't look at the projections because like my model's not dialed into like about 4 races in. I just have it on the sheet here, but the model obviously loves him just based on his average running position, his DNF rate, and everything that he's done. So I think he's another solid cash play.
Yeah, I have Allmendinger on my radar for sure. I even looked at what the possibilities are of him as an outright bet, just in case, like, because hey, we've seen Trevor Bayne win, Michael McDowell win. I mean, Jeremy Clements won the
Yep.
Xfinity race. There's just randomness.
Brandon Brandon Brown.
Brandon Brown, where
Yep.
that whole thing started. So
Yep.
AJ Allmendinger is 50-1. That's a large number, a very large number. For a guy that's actually a veteran. Yeah, he didn't spend much time in the Cup Series in the last couple of years, but a lot of track experience. I think it's an interesting bet. 50-1. If you're looking at long shots, I think Allmendinger is your best bet. 50-1. Why not? Why not? It would
Yes.
be hell of a story too.
We're on the speed round here. So Chase
Yeah, let's
Briscoe,
go
I
for it.
really like him too. Stuart Haas Racing, I think he'll work with Almirola and Harvick and
Look good in the
um,
duels.
Priest, yeah, and get up there. This isn't a track where you have to shift. That's one of his fortes, but I think
Right.
that he'll he'll do well. So I think he's a cash play in this range.
Yeah, he's good.
Stenhouse, he I don't know how he won a
I think
Daytona
he's good.
race, but
Yeah, he's a Talladega monster, really good on the
yeah,
super speedways, but be very weary. He's always liable for wrecks, but his starting position is perfect for what we're looking for with the track history he has.
BJ McLeod is going to sit in the back, and if his car makes it the whole way, he could be a good play. But
What position?
GPP for me. Ty
Sure.
Gibbs, I think he's still getting used to up here. He wasn't great up in the Cup Series last season. He will work with the other Toyotas, but I don't know. Like when he filled in for Kurt Busch last year, like he really didn't make a lot of noise. I think it's going to take a while. And Gregson said in an interview today that they are a-holes to the rookies, as racers. So I think it's going to be a hard learning curve for him still this year. Now, Connor
Yeah.
Daly, I have him as GPP, but this is the sneakiest play I think of the day. And I'm
Really?
definitely going to have him because his car for the money team, like he couldn't even go out there for the first practice because for qualifying because like the car like had something melted, it was too close and heated up, and like there was like a fire under it. Then they had the suspension issue. Tony Erie Jr. is his crew chief, who was Dale Jr.'s crew chief, correct?
Wait, who's that?
Tony Erie Jr. Wasn't he Dale Jr.'s crew chief,
Might have been. I
or was
thought
it Tony Stewart?
might have been Stewart.
Okay, he was somebody. So he's been around. He's really good. They were so upset that they had such a debacle and they made it into this race and they have spent so much time, and Connor is he was an IndyCar racer. They've got this car figured out. They said it was, we made some mistakes. We don't have multiple teams. We don't have, but they said all the other Chevy people came running to them, Childress people, Hendricks people, to give them help, give them advice, get this car right so they could go out there and race this 500. I think he's going to have a decent day and finish somewhere in the 20s. I think he's a very good sleeper play. Not going to win it, but I think he has a solid day. And I think everybody's going to write him off just because of how bad the team was this week.
Interesting. I'll tell. Cody Ware, not for me.
Nope. Nope. We'll ride around in the back. Hopefully we won't get Rick rolled again because there was the one 500 where they all decided to just kind of stay off the pace and stay out of trouble. And then they all ran into each other going to pit road, and it was just horrible. And so Kyle Busch is my other prime play because he's starting way too far back. He had a dominant car in the duel, got wrecked by Daniel Suarez. Backup car says just as good. The setup was good, was happy in practice. Haven't seen Kyle Busch this happy in a long time. I think with the new team, with how well Childress does on plate races, working with Austin Dillon, I think he has a lot of success here. Definitely gets the place differential, could actually win this race.
Yeah, locked in, prime play. Absolutely. He's going to be super chalk, but it doesn't matter.
Yep. I think you just need to eat it. I like Ty Dillon here also, even though an Aspire car, he's always been decent at plate tracks. Riley Herbst is really good, had a really good Xfinity race. Rick Ware, again, it's the car's a little bit questionable, but he's a decent driver. So you can't really lose that much. The floor is good. You can only lose like 2 points with place differential if he does crash and finishes last. But I think the upside is huge here. Jimmy Johnson, I think, will be huge chalk too. I'm not going to put him as a prime play because, again, he was my favorite driver, but it looked like he just kind of had lost a step. He's been out of the car. He hasn't really driven this type of car. I'm sure he did a lot of work with the Hendricks team, and he and Bowman were bumper to bumper, locked in for all the practice sessions. I don't think they practiced today, but the practice session on Friday. So I think he'll definitely get up there, but I know he's good cash play, but I don't know if I can actually lock him in as one of my primes.
Yeah, I think he's a really solid cash play. I think he's going to be involved in most of the optimal cash builds. So I think it's just going to be an auto play just based on the starting position. And it's different now that he kind of owns the team. He knows that manufacturer points mean something. So finishing the race is a lot more of a priority than, say, a few years ago where it was either win or go home, right? So I think making sure his car crosses the finish line kind of matters now. So
and if he accidentally wins, and gets in the championship, does he run a full season?
Absolutely.
We'll see. And then I think Travis Pastrana down here, he has driven every type of vehicle possible. He wrecked but they fixed the car. They said there's no problems with it. He was out in practice and was good at hooking up with the other Toyotas, drafting and stuff, and just trying to learn, asking lots of questions and stuff. So, I think he's the biggest mystery on the slate here, but I think he can't lose you anything. His floor is decent, starting 40th. So I think he's safe to play in cash also.
Yeah. Wild card. Gonna treat it like that. I'm not sure what to expect.
Well, let's just hope for a good race. Let's hope for no rain because that truck race was so choppy and annoying. So beautiful skies, hopefully, and good racing and safe racing. And if there's wrecks, everybody walks away from it. That's what we can hope for. And to make some money to move on to California for the last time at Auto Club before they tear it down and rebuild it. So, well, I appreciate you joining me, TK. It's been fun to do this again. I'll have to have you back a couple more times this season if you're willing and available.
Absolutely.
And, so any final words for our viewers?
Mega, thank you for having me on. I appreciate joining you for the kickoff for the Daytona 500. I'm looking forward to a very fun event. Make sure you guys lock in Bubba Wallace 18-1. Get your Allmendinger long shot $5 bet on that 50-1, and always be very, very light when it comes to the DFS angle, as Mega alluded to at the top. This is a very volatile race, and there's just liability hanging in every direction. But Mega, thank you for having me on, and I'm looking forward to the updates tomorrow.
Okay. And if you want more information on FSIDFS, you can check out the bio of the video. And if you look at below the screen, that's the website. You can get a free week, get into our Discord, get all the cores, all the sheets and stuff. There'll be times this season where we won't be able to make videos because the turnaround times can be so quick between the end of qualifying and the race. But if you're in the Discord, you'll get the sheet and all the information and the help. You can always leave questions below in the chat, and we'll get back to you on those. We love engaging with our viewers and appreciate your viewing. And also you can hit me up at MegaRuler31 on Twitter. So if these videos help you, the best thing you can do for us is subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 4,000, just a couple away from that. And by the end of the season, between this and baseball, I really want to drive us up to 5,000 viewers. So appreciate all you who have watched over the last couple of seasons. And we're looking forward to a great season again. And like the video, that helps it go far. Share it with your friends. So appreciate you watching. I'm Mega 31, and good luck in your contest, and we'll see you next time.